Garvey. I've got the pleasure of having a conversation today with Peter Trenaman of GroupSupport. How are you, Peter?
Very well, Lorraine. Yourself?
Very well. Still wearing a smile.
Fantastic smile.
So what we're talking about today, Peter, is a horror story. But a horror story with a happy ending, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, no. I don't like scaring people, but using something as a great illustration.
I think it is, and I do like to scare people because I am in the marketing game and the fear sells, right? So I think it's important that people know what could happen if they don't protect their businesses. So I'm going to hand it over to you and tell us about your most recent client.
I absolutely agree with you, Lorraine. Having the knowledge and the understanding of what can happen to your business if things don't go right. But I don't like doing the fear things because that's a bad sale. So a man, let's call him Bob. Bob had a website that he looked after himself, and he got a third-party overseas marketing guru to look after his SEO and his accelerated search functions and all that sort of stuff to make his website fast and attractive to clients. He also had a couple of email addresses for one staff member, one family member who worked in the business, and a couple of contractors. And he was looking to employ a VA as well in that mix. But he was managing themselves, and we were supplying the licenses to that tenancy. He had a couple of computers, a landline phone, all of those things he'd managed and arranged himself. So we also provided antivirus for his machines, and we did the backups for his primary tenancy. So at that point, we provided 3 services for him. Okay. He then rang us. So we were trying to ring him, okay, and realised that the landline that was on his website, the landline listed on the website, wasn't his current landline. Something had changed. So I rang his mobile and found out that, no, he hadn't changed anything like that. And I said, well, that means the website's been changed. And he said, well, can you look in? And so we got the login details from him, looked in there, and there were 700 pages on the back of the website. Okay. His website had tanked from being on the first page, okay, through to of Google, through to like page 10. Now, I think I've spoken about this client before in regards to the number of pages that were injected into the back of their website, promoting all the bad things, you know, casinos and porn and all the other bits and pieces. Now, he couldn't see them from the management portal or from the WordPress front end, where the SEO people were doing. But what we also found was that the marketing company had used some random contractors on the outside in the world, and had published his login details on plain text on the web, and we could find them. Which meant that anybody could get in and just inject pages. And so a new page was being injected about once an hour into his website. Some pretty scary stuff. Okay, so it'd been going on for a couple of weeks. So we took hold of his website, we cleaned it up, we took hosting of it, we managed the hosting of it, and we took his domain and managed hosting of that, and we took his emails and managed the hosting of that. Took administrative control and stripped the ownership control of any of his logins and put our master login on top. We then made sure all his machines were secure, and went through and secured every single login of every single machine, every single email, tenancy, the lot. Went through and gave it a full audit. We worked out that there were about 10 rogue entries in his login table, which we worked with him to get it all done. The outcome was that his website is now being managed by an SEO maestro who's doing a fantastic job. We open the gate to let him in, and we close it when he goes. Okay, we don't do SEO and do design ourselves. That's other people, but we look after the security management and maintenance performance of the actual website. So by being able to do that and the other services we provide, that's essentially a managed services package. Okay. But what it gives us is a budget to go through and check every month to make sure that the website's doing what it needs to do, is being backed up, is performing, no one's getting in that they shouldn't get in, give him an audit report, give him a security report on his emails, on his tenancy, on his OneDrive tenancy, on his website, all those things that are generally forgotten about by a one-man band, when a one-man band is actually focusing on what they do best. You know, so Bob was then able to go back to his core business and actually focus on his clients and accelerate and make sure that his clients were being looked after, knowing that at the drop of a hat, he could make a phone call to the team to say, sort it out, we need this, we need that, need the other. And overall, it's actually cost him less than him doing himself when he factors in his own time.
Yeah.
So he's got a better result, okay? It's cost him less and he's more secure. Why wouldn't you do it?
But also, I mean, people don't know what can go wrong if there's no pain, right? People don't move. But yeah. I'm thinking on the other side, you know, what could have happened? So if you didn't phone him, that could have gone on forever. As he moves away from page 1 of Google, that can take years to get there sometimes. He's moving further and further back. So he's costing business. And then there's the repair job. Like he could have been, Google could have blacklisted that site. The domain could have gone down. He could have lost everything online with his presence.
We took his website down for 2 days. And he was a bit angry about that. But once it was up, it was clean and it went back to being on page 2 within a couple of days.
Wow. Okay.
Which means the SEO guys don't have as much to do in that point to get it back up to number 1. But that's the point. You don't know about the pain. And sometimes a little bit of pain at the start goes a long way to preventing a greater amount of pain further down the track. So, yep.
I'll just ask you then, Peter, this is just my information again, do you think more and more people are coming as a client of yours now because they're becoming more aware of cybersecurity and awareness?
There's a greater demand. There's a greater demand to actually understand more about what we do, but that is becoming increasingly hard. When you think that for Bob, we changed 30 odd settings on his email account to increase his security, 30 settings that didn't affect his email addresses or anything like that. Now, if I try and go through that with you, excuse me, that's going to take half an hour to go through every setting. You're going to get bored very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, do I have to go through and bore every single client? Some people will learn and say, yes, that's fine. And those people, their clients would want, because they understand that there's things that they don't know and that it's great to have someone who's an expert. And I'll go back to my previous comments that we went from years and years ago to find an IT expert or even an expert in any field. Okay, develop a relationship and trust what they say. Yes, I mean, it's all back to the same thing. It's a consistent message from years and years of experience in business.
Wow, Peter, thank you very much for sharing this. I'm looking forward to sharing this with our business community, just to let people know what could happen and what is happening more and more and more. This is not this happens once in a blue moon. This is just becoming mainstream stuff.
That's it. Once every, we probably get one every 2 weeks.
Wow. Okay. Peter Trenaman, GroupSupport, thank you very much for sharing your wisdom with us today. I look forward to speaking to you soon.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thanks, Elaine. Cheers.
Thanks. Bye. Bye.